Welcome in. It's almost time.
All right, welcome in, everyone. This is the Sports Hounds, exclusively on A2D Radio. As always, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us wherever you get your podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio. I am, of course, Rob Brinkman, filling in for Brad tonight. All Campus's own from Ocean City, New Jersey, Mr. John Coyle. Check out All Campus right there between 10th and 11th Street on the Ocean City Boardwalk as they get rocking and rolling. All the hats you could want, any college. We get a little Georgia hat going. I got my Eagles hat on. Got a bunch of special editions down there. So we thank him for joining us tonight. Brad will be sweating out the Rangers-Devils Game 7. Normally I'd be amped in New York, but I'll pull for Brad tonight. I got a big futures bet on the Rangers from the beginning of the season. So hopefully they're not out in round one. But, I mean, Game 7s last night were crazy. So expect that in that Rangers-Devils game tonight as well. All kinds of things to talk about. Breaking news. I don't know if it's breaking, but it is official that Joel Embiid, the MVP of this league, the best player in this league, will be officially not active tonight. Joel Embiid will be out for Game 1 against the Celtics. If he's not playing in Game 1, got to think it's pretty doubtful for him to play in Game 2 as well. So it looks like best case scenario, we see Joe down Friday. Let's get to our great sponsors here at A2D Radio. They make everything happen. They pay the bills. We're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc. Make them yours too. 2 convenient locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. Don't forget to check him out. Tell him A2D Radio sent you. Like I said, he's your doc. Our doc, make him yours too. Also brought to you by our newest sponsor here, Philly Sports Trips. Check them out anywhere you want to go. Philadelphia 5 for 5 Sports Travel Company, premium travel and tailgating experience for the passionate fans of Philadelphia. Go to phillysportstrips.com. Check out Vince and all the big things they're doing there. They had a great trip for the draft. They got San Diego Padres, Philadelphia Phillies packages. I'm sure they have plenty of things for this Eagles team. Should be a great season for the Eagles. So make sure you get to a road game with phillysportstrips.com. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. And then we got our good friends there at Baguio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio. 10% off your in-store purchase. 10% off your in-store purchase. Just mention A2D Radio. Tell them you're a fan. Topics tonight, pretty straightforward. We're going to be talking Sixers. We're going to be talking Bryce Harper. Yeah. Other breaking news today, Bryce Harper will be returning.
Good
tomorrow.
News.
That's good news. We had all good news except the silly Sixers who can never seem to get it right at this time of year. And if you don't think the Eagles had an A-plus draft, I think you need to get your eyes checked and follow a new sport to watch because Howie Roseman kills it once again with the draft. How about the news that comes out today, John, with the further details of the trade? So if DeAndre Swift walks in free agency, the Eagles get that 4th-round pick back.
That's absolutely crazy that we could get a guy for a year or 2 and not lose anything, which it looks like he's going to. I don't see us signing him back. Doesn't make any sense to sign him back. So why not just get the free pick, get the free player?
Yeah, and then obviously, at least my heart sank a little bit at the 8th overall pick when we were hanging out down there at the Tropicana Sportsbook with the Atlanta Falcons jumping in, taking Bijan Robinson. But that's a silly pick for Bijan Robinson. So now you get DeAndre Swift, who I was originally against. I don't think he's that great, but I mean, you get him for a 7th-round pick swap pretty much because I agree with you. I don't see this football team paying long-term for a running back at all. So you got the LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi running back before the season even starts.
Yep.
And
I'm perfectly okay with that.
And that's fine. You load up with Jalen Carter, and we got the SEC North here in Philadelphia.
Yes, we do. The Bulldogs North.
Let's get to our poll question. Our poll question is brought to you by Creative Window Design, serving New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida. Fully authorized Hunter Douglas dealer. Contact Jeff at 609-226-0391. That's a free consultation. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Our poll question of the night is the Sixers can split the first 2 games of this series in Boston. Now, this is going to be tough, John, because I feel like we're down 0-2 going into this basketball game.
Feels like it.
Obviously, they're not, and anything can happen. We saw the Bruins go down. We saw the Kraken go down in hockey, and we saw Milwaukee Bucks were eliminated in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, and the Memphis Grizzlies, number 2 seed over the West. LeBron took care of them. So anything can happen in sports. But, John, I feel like we're down 0-2 before this game even starts. And when you're down 0-2, you get the game 3 at home or on the road. Doesn't really matter. That's the burn the boats, stand up, fight with everything you got game. And that's what this basketball team is facing tonight.
Yeah.
I just – you have to get a split. It's going to be – you're going to be – if Joel's not playing, you're going to be – in terms of the sports books and the odds makers, you're probably going to be double-digit favors both tonight and assuming Joe doesn't play on Wednesday, you're going to be double-digit favorite dogs.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a surprise game, if there's an all-hands-on-deck game, if this team was ever going to show some heart and get up off the mat against this team when it matters against the Boston Celtics, it has to be tonight.
Right.
Absolutely got to have it tonight. Now, my formula for victory over these playoffs have been Joe getting his. Obviously, that's not going to happen tonight. He's not even going to be active. Surprise, surprise. He's hurt again when we need him most. So that means your top 3 scorers are boxed into being Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and James Harden, Mr. Vegas. Who seems to be more interested. I'll get to James Harden.
We'll do that later. That's a whole nother
We can get to the offseason. I mean, probably by next week's show, we'll have
sounds
a Boston sweep on our hands, most likely, and then we'll be able to crush everyone from top to bottom associated with this Philadelphia Sixers organization and how silly of an organization they truly are. So you need 75 points from James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris. You're probably going to need 20 and 10 from B-Ball Paul.
Good luck with that.
Is that feasible? I don't know. Because guess who's going to be guarding James Harden, our primary ball handler? Marcus Smart.
Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago, one of the best on-ball defenders in the game. Good luck with that.
And he's just a thick, beefy dog of a guard.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown, he's going to draw the matchup of Tyrese Maxey. Problem with Tyrese Maxey in this series, as much as we love him, his next good game against this Boston Celtics roster, against this Boston Celtics team, will be his first.
Yeah.
Traditionally, doesn't play good against the Boston Celtics, nor do the Philadelphia 76ers. And then you got Tobias. He's going to have Tatum on him.
Yep. Maybe
that's your path to a 25, 30-point performance, but
no.
That's going to be super hard. And then the Celtics, they're just everything that the Sixers aren't. They're everything I want the Sixers to be.
Yeah, they have built their team the absolute proper way, especially to win in playoffs, right? You're guard-centric. You got wings that can handle the ball, that can play defense, that can shoot. We just don't have that. We are a big guy special, right? And it's hard to win like that in the NBA right now, especially when that big guy is so brittle and frail like Joel is. Every single year he's out. He needs to take 30 shots a series because there really is no one that can stop him on that team. That's the only way we win this series.
Who? Maxey?
No, Joel. Joel needs to take, but he's not here. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you take him out of the equation, every matchup that you just said, we can't win it. Not that it's going to be a tight matchup. We can't win those matchups. Those guys are just better than us right now. And that's it. They just match up way better than us without Joel Embiid.
And then I thought Tom Arnone on last night's broadcast. Check that out in podcast form with the boys previewing the series. I really don't have any qualms with Doc Rivers and his coaching this season.
No.
Like I really don't. Like I don't think, looking ahead a little bit, if they are to go down in embarrassing fashion, I think there's 2, 3, maybe even 4 other scapegoats before, I look at Doc Rivers. And Tom mentioned it last night, and it's true. Doc seems to do his best coaching with a short deck of talent. I don't know why he can't just coach the same when he has Joel and all of his guns, but for whatever reason, these guys off the bench, they seem to respond to Doc or Sam Cassell or whoever on the coaching staff that puts in the work with these backups. They've been ready to play when this team's been diminished this year. So that's really like the only silver lining you have. To the poll question, no. I mean, we did a graph. We did our graphic. Frank Vesby, our great social media team, they asked me for my prediction on the series, and it's Celtics in 4. Because Skip Bayless this morning, now you take what Skip Bayless says with a grain of salt because he's a clown,
right?
Said that he had a source within the Sixers organization that, this is a little more than a sprain. There's a small tear, and even if he plays, he's only going to be at 20 to 30% capacity.
I said that from the minute he hurt himself. I said that I do not trust this training staff as far as I could throw them. They're a complete joke. If it's just a sprain, he's playing tonight. It's more than a sprain. He has a torn meniscus or something else that he's going to try to toughen out and play through game 3 and 4, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, and they're talking about these scientific PRP, plasma injections. Like, that's...
I get them. It's a series of 3 shots every week. I get them in my knees. They do work very well. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going out there and making basketball moves. My knees still aren't going to handle that. There's no gel that is going to be able to handle what a muscle and a tendon is supposed to do.
And everything I read about the LCL, which is what he's torn or strained or whatever,
right?
It's kind of in the back of the knee, and it's a tough heel.
Yep.
So every time he bends, he's going to be in discomfort. So I think there's common sense merit to Skip Bayless's report this morning on Undisputed with Shannon Sharp. But, I mean, tell us what you think in the comments. What's the path to victory? I know we all hate Boston. And, look, I would love nothing more than for this team to just go out and win game 1 and just ride a momentum wave. And then Joe comes back and everything's great, and the Sixers go to the Eastern Conference Final. That's another thing that sticks in my craw, too, because you're potentially facing the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals with which no Joel or with Joel, I think you beat. I think you beat.
You walk through them probably.
So, I mean, but this is what happens when you don't get the number 1 seed, which I said all season was imperative for this basketball team. So, I mean, would the Sixers have fallen victim to Jimmy Butler and the Heat in the first round? Maybe, maybe not. But
probably not. Probably not. I mean, look, they're Jimmy Butler strong, and I think we do have one guy who could play defense in PJ Tucker who can kind of control him. I do think PJ Tucker is going to have Jaylen Brown this series. I'm not really too worried about that. It's Jason Tatum now, right? The Celtics just got so many weapons that can hurt you that we don't have enough weapons or defensive players to even think about stopping that team. It really is a bad matchup no matter where you go, from the front court to the back court, even to the bench. We just don't match up well. And that's all it is. Anyone who says we have a chance is really just lying to themselves and hoping that we do. And that's what it comes down to.
So you're not betting over points, rebounds, assists tonight on Montrezl Harrell?
No. If that guy plays, Al Horford and Robert Williams is going to destroy him. Absolutely destroy him.
Couldn't agree more. Then Niang's going to have to play more, and Melton's going to have to play more, and Shake Milton's going to have to play more, and that's just not a recipe for success. Again,
it's not. I am interested to see Shake. Right? I do want to see Shake. I don't know why. I just feel like he's that one guy who, if somehow he can get hot, he can stay hot. Right? He is the one guy that I think I'm going to be leaning on the second team to really elevate us. Besides that, it's going to have to be Maxey, and you hope that Maxey can do it.
What did you make of James Harden? I guess he's the mayor of Las Vegas. He's there so much. What did you make of him being in Las Vegas during this little
James Harden
sabbatical?
You knew what you were getting with him. You know what he likes. You know what he does. It's not going to change. There was all rumors going into the playoffs. He wants to go back to Houston because he misses his little friends over there that dance for him. Like, that's what he likes. That's what he does.
But here's the thing with James. Like, you've been trying to, like, he's a ball handler. He's a facilitator now. He took a backseat to Joe, and that was all good. I actually think he had a pretty good regular season. I thought he should have been an all-star.
Correct.
But he wasn't.
100%.
But, like, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining, because if you want to win a championship, you're not in Vegas during the playoffs. I don't care if you're off or not. I guess the team was off because I don't know how he's in Vegas and doesn't miss a film session or a workout or a practice or anything like that, unless he just went for the night like a crazy person. I have no idea. But, like, don't tell me you're committed to winning when you're out in Vegas on your downtime. When's the last time you saw LeBron? When's LeBron ever been in Vegas during a playoff run?
You can't compare one of the greatest players to James Harden.
But it's about mentality. Kobe never did it. Steph's never in Vegas.
But James Harden has never done that. He's never been that guy. He's never been, I'm going to stay at the gym, I'm going to work out, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get in condition. He's never been that guy until this year.
I get that.
Right? This is the year where he was.
But he spoke a big game.
He showed up a big game. He was in shape this year. He had a great year. The problem is, now that he looks and says, Joel Embiid's out, we're screwed. I know I can't be the guy. He might just give up. He might just quit. That's what James Harden does. He's a quitter. He quits on every team. This is his perfect out. He has all the excuses lined his way to get out right now.
And the fact that, like, he wants to go to Houston, who's an absolute dumpster fire. There's even reports.
Yep.
Like, I'm a big believer in wherever there's smoke, there's at least a little bit of fire.
100% he said that to someone. 100%.
And then they went to the newspaper or the media or someone, and they put it on Twitter and put it out there. So I'm a big believer in that mentality. So, like, you fooled us. Congratulations, James. You fooled us for whatever, an 82-game regular season, that you were going to be this changed guy, and then you're out in Vegas the second.
I'm not going to say that, though. I'm not going to blame him, though, because you never know if Joel's healthy and they're working out together and they're going into this series together. Maybe he doesn't do all that.
But that's not a professional mentality. That's not a professional mentality.
I'm with you.
His routine shouldn't change no matter who's in, who's out, who's healthy. James Harden could be playing the Boston Celtics 1-on-5. That shouldn't affect how he prepares to play the basketball game.
Again, everyone can think this is how it is or believe whatever they want to believe. The fact of the matter is Joel Embiid's not playing. Every player on their Sixers know that they're in trouble. Every player on that team knows they're in trouble, that they need a miracle to win this series without Joel Embiid. They know that.
They're laying 10. It might be more now that Embiid is officially out. It was 10 this morning when I was putting together the show.
I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to 11.5.
Maybe I'll check that out after we're done here. If they're going to show up and show heart, and then, like, this is the game. This is the burn the boats game already in game one on the road. You're already behind the 8-ball.
Yeah, if you're going to try to make a series out of this, this is the game where you got to show everyone, hey, our guy's not in. We can still do this, though.
Because if you go out and get blown out tonight, which I think is, honestly speaking, objectively speaking, is the most likely scenario.
Correct.
All that fake bravado that we talked about at the beginning of the show is gone.
It's gone.
Especially if you start slow.
everyone hits rock bottom if we come out of the first quarter down by double digits. It's over.
Yeah, if it's like 25-10 at the end of one, something like that.
Over. Yeah, I'm thinking if it's like 32-21, something like that, this team does not have the makeup to come back. They don't.
Gonna have to make a lot of threes, Johnny. A lot of threes.
Good luck with that. PJ Tucker in the corner. Let's go.
Because another aspect with Joe out is like they're not going to get freebies at the free throw line nearly as frequently as they were. And James Harden really didn't get any calls in the Nets series because the refs notoriously swallow the whistle at this time of year, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah. James Harden's not going to get by Marcus Smart anyway. It's not. He's not going to get by him like he did Spencer Dinwiddie and guys like that. It's not going to happen.
So Joe's out. My opinion, you probably need 20 and 10 from B-Ball Paul and 75 points from James Harden, Maxey, and Tobias. And then maybe you keep it close.
Yeah. If all those scenarios happen, then yes, we have a chance to win the game.
Let's get to some comments. Comments tonight are brought to you by our friend Alan Foy, eXp Realty, looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career brokerage. Contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty, 302-682-8820. Visit him, Alan Foy at exprealty.com. There's his email address. He'll help you out. Tell him the boys A2D Radio sent you. He can help you navigate through this rather difficult housing market right now. Comments tonight. I'll be interested to see if we got some rah-rah stuff in here or we have.
There's always going to be some rah-rah people who have.
Well, I mean, Tom. I listened to Tom and Wilson and Sweeps and Greg last night, and Tom opened the show with his normal bravado.
Right.
But then the rest of the show, after like the initial rush of actually being on air, it's a rush to go on the air, talk to the people, talk about sports, what we're passionate about, we're for the fan, by the fan. I've never seen Tom Arnone sit back in his seat like this during a broadcast and just try and pull stuff. Well, maybe this can happen. No, this, that. That's how you know you're kind of.
Once the reality of the situation hits you in the face, it's you don't know what else to do.
Because deep down, Tom knows.
Yeah, right.
And those boys over there know because they know sports. And they always, to their credit, they always try and spin it in Philly's favor. And even Tom Arnone, I feel like we're struggling to do that. And you can check. Tom will be on after us. They'll be doing live reactions and post games all night. So keep it locked here on A2D Radio. Comments. Read the sponsor. Dynasty 215 is checking in on YouTube. Chris Garland also on YouTube. Sucks. Embiid is always hurt, but if Embiid doesn't get MVP tomorrow, I don't know if he ever will. The rumors are circulating that Joel Embiid will receive his MVP trophy on Friday at the Wells Fargo Center prior to Game 3. They're not going to give it to him in Boston. That would make no sense. But injury or no injury, the fact that he's not on the court doesn't change the fact for me that he was the MVP of the league last year and this year. And it also doesn't change the fact that he's the best player in the league, the most dominant player in the league.
Most dominant, yes, most dominant.
I guess Durant is kind of up there skill-wise, and Curry,
Luka,
Luka, he's in trouble down there in Dallas. I don't know.
He's still a very talented player.
I don't know what he is in this league. Is he a Carmelo Anthony can't win compiler, or is he hasn't found the right mix of guys to go around with him? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Luka. And Steph, you got to put Steph up there after yesterday.
Yeah, and what a performance that was, wasn't it? That was absolute pleasure to watch.
Yeah, he played really well. I caught the whole second half. We're supposed to go to Dover. Yesterday for the race.
You were saying that,
yeah. Got rained out, and I couldn't go today.
It was on today.
So Chris, he's still the MVP. He's still a top 5 player. Like, just sucks. It just sucks. It's like Groundhog's Day. It's always something with the guy. It's a shame.
I mean, honestly, am I wrong in saying this? But it's been since he was drafted. This time of year when we're in the playoffs, Joel Embiid's hurt. It's one thing or another.
He runs out of steam.
I don't know if that's what it is, or I mean, some of them are freak injuries, right? The eye socket thing, like that's freak injuries, but it just seems like it always happens this time of year.
It's a shame. I mean, It's just unbelievable. Because they need to do something to validate this process that I crush all the time.
Well,
every chance I get.
If there was any year, this was the year I was most excited, right? This was the year where it looked like everything's clicking. James Harden's playing great. He's accepted his role. Maxi's accepted his role. Tobias Harris has looked better than he's ever looked in his entire career that last series. He was probably the MVP of Series 1. He looked amazing. And now you come into it with your best player hurt and you just want to blow it all up. It's just my whole entire thought process on this team and mentality of this team is completely changed. Completely changed.
Spread is holding at 10 right now on DraftKings, Johnny.
It'll move. I'm about to get on there and take Boston to 10.
Yeah, you're going to lay it?
Yeah.
I need the Suns tonight. I put $50 on the Suns to win the series against the
Good luck with
Nuggets.
That.
And they got boat raced by 35 in game 1. So hopefully the Rangers win. Keep me alive on that action. Dynasty, how many games was he out versus Miami last year?
He struggled through 2 games, right?
Yeah, what was that? That was the second round?
It was the second round, I think, right? And he did the same thing where he missed game 1, he missed game 2, he tried to come back 3 and 4 and just wasn't the same. I could be wrong in saying that, but I don't know why I feel like that was the scenario.
I mean, Chris sounds like he's on top of it. Says he played 2. They went down 0-2 without him. Then he came back 2-2, but they still lost in 6.
Right. That's exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
He came back, but you knew he just wasn't himself, right? And that's what I'm expecting this series. I just don't think they're going to beat Boston like they did Miami.
Well, I think Boston is just better than Miami.
They're better.
Way better. They're well coached. They're well run. They have players 10 deep, and they're just really, really, really good. Good one by Martian Lawrence. I only ask that Boston makes it quick. I think you're going to get your wish, but maybe the Sixers could show some heart. Make them think about it a little bit with a good performance tonight. Chris Garland, if it's 0-2 Celtics in 5, if it's 1-1 Celtics in 7. Look, whatever
I can see that. I'm with you there.
If you want to Sixers show some heart, win a couple games, okay, I can bear that, but there's not an argument to be made that's going to convince me that this basketball team with a diminished Joel Embiid can win 4 out of 7 against the Celtics with
they
potentially deciding Game 7 in Boston.
They can't, because we've already seen this. We've already read this book, right? We know he's going to miss games 1 and 2 because he's really hurt. It's a real injury. He's going to come back games 3 and 4 where he's going to be okay. But that's it. He's going to kill himself. He's going to shoot himself. It's done. His knee will be done after game 4 where he cannot continue. And then it's over. Hopefully we can win those games 3 and 4. But even if we do, it's over. The series is done already.
Bob Brick, it's scary to think that this first game is in the hands of PJ. If he really plays great, we have a chance if the top 3 get their 25 each. Yeah, I mean, it is scary to think because this is not what PJ Tucker – the vocal point of the offense is not what PJ Tucker was brought in here for.
It's a shame because you really do think he needs 4 threes to keep us in this game. Like, he has to hit 4 of them at least.
And if he's not hitting them, Niang has to play, and you got to sacrifice defense.
A lot of defense. The only guy that's going to be able to guard Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, because you're going to have Harden, Maxey, and Tobias on that big 3. Big 3 with meaning Smart included with Brown and Tatum. And then, I don't know. Can Niang play good enough defense to hang with Horford?
Yeah.
Probably not. But
he can't play good enough defense to hang
the
with me.
Sixers need offense out of that power forward position.
They do now, yeah.
Yes, for those just joining us, Habib 215, Embiid officially inactive tonight for Game 1 of the series against Boston.
Do we have any, Rob? Was there any information that did he practice? Was he involved in shoot-arounds, or did he do any activity at all?
Well, I mean, the cuz Anthony Gargano, he posted wherever he got it, or maybe it was his video. He posted him like walking on the plane without a limp. That doesn't really mean anything.
That does nothing for me. Yeah.
I think their shoot around was scheduled for 10:30 this morning in Boston.
Do we know, was he a part of that?
I'm sure he shot some jumpers. Like I've seen him shoot jumpers, like just stand there from 15 feet away and just chuck. Right. But no, when he comes back, I find it very, very, very hard to believe that he's going to be MVP Joe.
He just can't be, yeah.
There you go. Frank likes my hat.
Hey, boy.
Man of great humor and character on A2D Wednesday nights with his signs and disguises, and sometimes he throws on hats of his own.
There you go.
Ryan Swoop's in the house.
What's up, Ryan?
He allows himself to get hurt at times with his intentional flops. I mean, supposedly they teach him to just fall down.
That's a whole, I can't even get down that rabbit hole. That's a whole nother nonsense by this franchise.
I don't understand how that helps. I guess I sort of understand how it helps, because if you just go limp and fall over, like you're kind of falling like a 7'3" Gumby, and maybe you won't get hurt. But
you know what's
I don't know
funny?
how much I'm buying into that.
Is everyone kind of knocks LeBron and knocks like all these superstars who don't really play defense that hard. Joel, stop playing defense. Like honestly, like just go up for blocks. Don't chase anyone down. Don't get out and guard anyone on the perimeter. Stop doing it. I'm okay with it. I need you healthy. Yeah. I don't need you to do all that nonsense.
Just mark the center and protect the rim.
That's it. He tries to do way too much.
That's a better plan than, if you're going to fall down, just go limp and hopefully you don't get hurt.
Never dive for balls. I never want to see that man dive for a ball. I don't care if you can get it or not. Game 7 of the finals, I still don't want you diving, ever.
Ryan Swoop, the Sixers have the depth and the bench too now. I mean, look.
Who?
I don't want to poo-poo the bench too much, but like they don't have a better bench than the Celtics. Now everyone's raised up on the depth chart now. Like Montrezl Harrell is going to get minutes tonight.
That's scary.
Very scary.
That's scary.
It probably won't be much, but Montrezl Harrell is going to play maybe 10, 12 minutes tonight.
It's funny because the Sixers fans, we look at our bench and we're like, oh, we have a deep bench. Yeah, we have a deep bench compared to previous years, but we don't really have any skill on that bench, honestly. Like we don't. We don't have any skill on the bench.
You have no one on that bench that I trust that you can draw up a play for and tell him to go get to.
Shake is the only one, but he has to be hot. Like if Shake is rolling and moving and really hot, then he can maybe carry that second line. But if not, there's no one else.
Teacher got game. The Sixers fans whine too much. Don't be scared. Have faith in your team. I mean, I have plenty of faith in this team that they're going to disappoint me when it matters most. That's what they always do. It's the definition of insanity to think that for the same thing to be happen over and over again, and it's insanity for me to expect something different.
Is this not going to be year 5 of second round outs? Like, isn't this year 5 of it in a row?
So, assuming the loss in the series, this team has gotten to the same round of postseason that the team they blew up that said couldn't win, got to. They looked at the Iggy era and the Drew Holiday era, And Scam Hinkie came in and said, yeah, this isn't good enough. We got to lose 1 million games on purpose and be an embarrassment. But great.
Yeah.
Now you drafted like garbage. You got one player out of the whole process. Could have had Mikel Bridges, but you traded him.
Yeah, there was a lot of mistakes that we could
Dario Saric didn't work out. Fultz was a disaster. Simmons was a disaster.
You gave up on Tatum, yeah.
So great. You lost 1 million games over a decade to get to the same point you were when you blew it up. That doesn't sit well with me. Now, if they did that and they drafted Tatum, they kept Bridges, they have Embiid, now you got a dynasty on your hands, and everyone's going to say it's a great idea. But there's been no validation on this process. There's been no return on investment for embarrassing the city of Philadelphia, the franchise of the Philadelphia 76ers, and frankly, the game of basketball and the NBA. None.
I hate doing this, Rob, but I'm going to ask you a question here that probably is just complete nonsense. But I think it all started with that quadruple bounce from Kawhi. If that doesn't go and we go to – do you think there's a different mentality here? Do you think there's something – do we not lose every round two? Do we get through because we got through? Or is this just a wall we will never get around?
It's a wall because they're not good enough. Now, they were good enough in 2019, and Kawhi hit his shot, and that was that. If Kawhi doesn't hit that shot and they advance, Jimmy Butler's still here.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying. Like
maybe Ben remains engaged.
Thing different? Yeah, is this whole thing different if that shot doesn't go?
Yeah, because then you got some cachet,
right,
on the free agent market. Now, maybe some guys are going to. I mean, people want to talk about the PJ Tucker signing. Like PJ Tucker didn't take less to play here. He got a crazy amount of money to be a dog playoff mentality guy.
And he got it when he's like 36 years old for 3 years.
30 million, 10 a year.
Yeah.
PJ Tucker. I still can't believe that contract was given out. But here we are. But yeah, it's totally different because you'd have Jimmy and Joe as your two best.
And like you said, you never know. Hey, if we win that series, right? If we beat Toronto there, Toronto had it easy, right? They went to the finals and Klay Thompson was hurt. I think Steph was even hurt a little bit in that series. It was a completely cakewalk for them. Probably would have been for us too. Does that has to change. Like that's the moment I look at this whole process and say, that's where it went wrong.
All these series. That shot. Now, was that a second round exit or was that the Eastern Conference Finals? All these seasons.
I want to say that was
because they haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, that was a second round. I'm trying to think of who they got through the conference, but it was an easy walk for Toronto, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, and the Raptors won. And the Raptors won the championship.
Right, they went to the finals, and Golden State was all banged up.
Is that who they played?
Yeah, that was when Klay tore his first tear.
Right. Ryan Swoop. Brian Wilson said it over and over last night. The Sixers need to hustle on stop and look to always looking to get rebounds, no standing around or watching. They need to hustle, not just Paul Reed and PJ Tucker, all the guys. Well, Ryan, if you have a direct line to James Harden.
I was just about to say it.
To try and plead with him to hustle tonight and play above his means on the defensive end, by all means, tap into that direct line and get him to do it. I know Maxi's going to hustle. I know Tobias is going to hustle,
right,
and give their all and have a decent chance to have successful games without Joe, reasonably successful. PJ Tucker, he's going to hustle. Like they're all going to hustle, and like I get it, but like that stench of pig that you smell in the room is playoff James Harden.
There it is.
Ryan Swoop has a direct line to playoff James Harden. Please tap into it and get him to take it to the next level.
Again, I said it earlier. It's easy for James Harden to play when he has Joel Embiid to lean on. It's very easy to play when you have the best guy in the world playing with you.
Yeah,
James Harden now has to be the guy. And we've seen what happens when James Harden is the guy. He fails.
It's like all those guys playing with LeBron in Cleveland. Like,
yep,
the talent of that roster was never up to snuff with the Warriors.
Yeah.
But LeBron was that good and could elevate guys and dominate the basketball game. James Harden seems...
Who was the best guy of that series besides Harden? Matthew Dellavedova or something? Yeah, where is that guy now?
Yeah, remember in the early days, they had like their big two was like Carlos Boozer and LeBron.
Right.
Just beat the Pistons and went right to the finals. LeBron's it was like his second year. It was crazy.
Yeah. James Harden is not that guy. And the worst part is to your point, what you said earlier, Rob, is he looks like he has checked out. Everything that he has done this week has seemed like he has checked out. I'm just waiting to see it on the court tonight.
And like with guys,
I think we're going to see it.
And guys like LeBron and Steph and like the true number ones in this league, like they can make their teammates better and dominate the basketball game. Correct. Seems with James Harden, especially these days. Now he's older now. You have to pick. Do you want James to take over and not facilitate anything and be a ball hog and get 50 points? Or do you want him to get like that 15, 10, and 7 type of game?
No, James Harden has to get 30 tonight, but he has to do it on like 18 shots. You know what I mean? Like he can't take 30 shots to get 30 points. That's just it's not a winning scenario. He has to get 30, but he has to do it efficiently.
I mean, Ryan Swoop checking back in. Marcus Smart is a complete competitor out there. He's never not hustling or doing all the small things. Yeah, but he's incredible. Like he's a better scorer than the guys we have. He's a better shooter than the guys we have, and he's better at defense. He's just a
decision
better
maker.
Player.
He's better.
Greg Milakovic, what's up, fellas? Got to hope for a split. That's all we got is hope. You know, I try and be as fair and objective as possible. Sometimes I get carried away, like predicting the Eagles to win the Super Bowl 42-17. I get my fan hat on, but I do my best to be objective and logical when on here ratings. I mean, it's all we got.
Yeah, there's not much we can lean on here besides hope.
And that's the talking point that gets you at Dynasty 215. It literally took 50-plus points from Embiid, who's not playing tonight, and Brown was out, and they only beat the Celtics by 2, one of the last games of the regular season.
Right.
So, like, we're just presenting logical talking points. Well, I hope the Sixers go out and play really well tonight, and they shock Boston.
Please.
Sooner or later.
I would love to be wrong.
I love when people prove me wrong.
Yep.
And, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Sixers plus 10 as we get closer to 7:30 here. Like, I can't help myself. I am crazy. Because, well, I'm already down 50 because the Suns stink. So I'm
absolutely
crazy. I'm chasing. Greg, yeah, Brad's not here. He's sweating out the Rangers. Go Devils. F the Rangers.
I'm with you, Greg. I'm with you.
I hate the Devils.
I hate the Devils too, but I hate the Rangers more.
What have the Rangers ever done to me, though?
They're New York.
I get that.
That's it.
But hockey, I'm a little different. I don't like the Devils because all those championships they won when the Flyers were loaded and they couldn't beat Brodeur and that stupid.
We hate him for one reason: Scott Stevens,
he doesn't help. But they used to play that stupid trap and no one could beat it. Yeah. And it was just infuriating. And then no love lost for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
No.
So the Rangers are at least number 3 on my hatred order.
Yeah, they're number 2.
In terms of hockey. And I have my action on the Rangers, so.
There you
go. Nick Michael. LeBron never had like anyone like Toby or Maxey on those Cavalier teams. We can definitely win one game without Joel. I think it's early to be panicking in the doom and gloom. Is it though?
It's a nice statement, a nice theory. You're right. Toby and Maxey are very solid players, but
We got to get Nick up to Boston, and he's giving the pregame speech.
there you go. Yep.
And Ryan Swoop is calling James Harden and telling him to hustle tonight. It's a lock. It's a lock.
Toby's going to be in foul trouble if he has to guard Tatum. Maxey has to guard probably Smart, who is always going to be banging him. I just don't like it. If you're talking X's and O's in basketball, it just doesn't. There's nothing that you like. It reminds me of like watching the movie Miracle, right? And when he's at the park before they play the Russians, talking to his wife, and he's like, we just don't match up anywhere. We just don't match up anywhere with them. That's the way I feel like right now.
But they won.
But they won. You're right. They won.
Yeah, I mean, hope is a failed strategy. We know this every year. One of my other concerns with this basketball game tonight is Paul Reed getting in foul trouble.
Yeah, I'm not too afraid of that as much because they don't really have a center that's really going to command the ball and kind of, back him down, and he's going to play defense on it. He should be able to kind of freelance a little bit and stay out of foul trouble, you hope.
Because if Paul Reed gets in foul trouble, that means Montrezl Harrell is going to play more than 10 to 12 minutes, and that's not good for anybody.
No, I mean, I can't even think of who's our other bigs that we had. Is Niang playing center for us if this happens?
Yeah, and then I also feel like playing small with B-Ball Paul and Joel, who, if you're just joining us, he's not playing tonight, probably won't play game 2 either. So Friday is the hope for Joel, hopefully when he gets his MVP trophy.
Right.
So, playing small against the Celtics team, that screams at me that you're playing right in the Celtics' hands.
Correct. Yeah,
they have guards for days. They
got guards for days that are going to be better than anyone we have. But then you also are giving Robert Williams free reign on the glass. He's just going to have 20 rebounds if you do that.
All right, so that's the Sixers. We had a nice little draft, transitioning to some draft talk, some positivity. I got the hat on tonight. Got to be an A+ for the Eagles, right, John?
A double plus. I mean, it's just home run. It was every scenario that I wanted to hit everything that I was clamoring for.
Now you get Jalen Carter. All did you give up? I mean, the Bears had to have been one of those teams that took Jalen Carter off their draft board, right?
It had. If Jalen Carter fell to the Bears and they moved out for a 4th rounder, yeah, they had to have some kind of fear of taking that guy. Yeah.
We did a little pre-draft show down there at All Campus where we went over the Tropicana. Offensive. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know about offensive line prospects.
Right.
I don't watch film. I'm not a coach. I never really played football before. But you're drafting a right tackle, a guy who can't even go to the left, play on the left.
Right.
With the 9th pick, that screams to me that you didn't draft best available player and you drafted for need.
100% the Bears took a need draft. To me and to most everyone, Jalen Carter was coming into this college year was your number 1 prospect. Coming out of the college year was probably your number 2 guy on the board, right behind Will Anderson, if not 1A, 1B type of scenario.
Yeah, in terms of complete prospects, football players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
And then we get them. How can that not be an A+ draft? And then we haven't even gotten to everything else that happened. But the pick of Jalen Carter alone gives you an A+.
And then, look, they're going to shuffle guys in and out. You have Fletcher Cox, you have Milton Williams, you have a ton of depth up there. But Jalen Carter is the best player on your defensive line from day one.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's a run stopper. He's a pass rusher. He's a disruptor. He's a playmaker from the defensive tackle position. So everything after – go ahead.
Sorry. The best way to describe a D tackle is he a 3-down player? Jalen Carter is. He could be in there for every single down and be productive. You can't say that for a lot of D tackles.
And then I look at the other, like Dallas took a defensive tackle in Maze Smith. He's nowhere near the prospect that Jalen Carter is.
There's no way that guy could be a 3rd down. Like a 3rd and 8, he's never going to be on the field.
He's going to be out of the game.
Yep.
And Dallas, I thought, really needed a DB, but we digress. Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, what was I just saying? And then I guess that Clancy, Collegiate can't see.
Pittsburgh kid, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if he's an end or a tackle. I don't really know how to classify him. He's kind of like a hybrid guy, but he goes 19. He's nowhere near the prospect. So when you're looking at these draft grades, like that's why Bijan Robinson went in the top 10. The Eagles didn't even have a chance to get him. He goes 8th to the Atlanta. Like he's so much better than Jahmyr Gibbs, who went 12th.
Yeah.
And I think the next one was Charbonnet from UCLA. He went in the 2nd round.
He went in the 2nd round, yeah.
Like the gap between number 1 running back on your board or number 1 defensive tackle on your board and the second guy that gets taken,
huge.
Wide gap.
Huge.
Wide gap.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, you go at 30 and they go and grab a guy that I think 90% of Eagles Nation would have been happy with if they picked at 10.
Yep.
Or you play a game and you trade down to 14 and then take Nolan Smith and you have an extra pick somewhere.
Right.
But you get the second best player, football player in the draft at the 9th pick and it only costs you a 4th round pick. That's a no-brainer. Nolan Smith at number 30
Oh my God,
is a no-brainer because maybe you can see Hassan Reddick with his hand in the ground more, and Nolan Smith, who ran a 4.3 at the combine,
right?
Really fast, really athletic. Maybe he can be the guy that rushes off the edge and maybe drops into coverage sometimes. I'd rather him do that, a young athletic guy, than Hassan Reddick, who had nearly 20 sacks last year.
It's absolutely crazy to say, but we broke every single record in sacks last year, and we got better. Like, we got way better. I just can't imagine. And the guy that I'm the most excited for, who really came out with an S on his chest out of this draft, Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is going to be one hell of a middle linebacker because of what we got in front of him. He should never be touched. Like our front 4 should eat up blocks, and he is just going to fly around the field making plays.
Yeah, I like it. And then just to compound that a little bit is now you have Fletcher Cox, a little older Fletcher, but still effective. Now he's in that like sweet spot, like 55, 60, maybe 65% of the snaps in an ideal game plan.
Yep.
He almost had double-digit stats last year if he didn't get there.
And years past, Fletcher Cox was always the guy that teams had the focal point on and double team. He should not see any double teams this year. He should be one-on-one against every single center or guard this year that he sees.
And then you have Sweat and Graham and I'm not sure. Is Barnett still under contract? Coming off the ACL.
Yeah.
I believe he's still under contract.
Yes,
that was a shame last year. That was a shame last year because he was playing – I felt like he was really starting to come into his own there when he got I think it was like week 4 or week 5. He blew out his knee.
Just our DNs alone, our 4 DNs that we have, you can legitimately make a case that all 4 of them could have 10 sacks this year. That's crazy talk.
And then you get Keely Ringo going back to Georgia.
Yeah.
Look, I've been saying it for years. I mean, Tom Arnone's been saying it for years. Yeah. Everyone here at A2D Radio, like, draft the SEC.
Yep.
Tom's big on team captains as well. Like, sure, you can be a captain of a championship team. You should probably be on people's draft boards.
Yep.
Probably be rather high in that process as well. That's just stuff that I'd much rather have that than some workout warrior that dominated the 3-cone drill at the combine.
I'm 100% with you. I could not agree more.
Because then you go to round 4 and you get another Georgia guy in Keely Ringo. and you draft the safety in Sidney Brown, which looks to be a really good football player.
Yeah, a lot of people had him the number 2 safety in the draft.
I wouldn't be surprised that maybe not week 1, but eventually during this football season that we're lining up with Keely Ringo and Sidney Brown as your starting safeties.
Really?
I think he's got the size. I think he's got this. Talking Ringo, Brown's a safety. He's going to be a safety. Drafted as a safety, you put him there. He was good at Illinois, Big Ten guy. Played next to Witherspoon.
Yeah,
real good glue guy.
If I'm not mistaken, Ringo is bigger than Brown. Brown's
huge.
only 6'1", maybe.
He's huge.
Yeah, Ringo's a big boy.
Because you're kind of, at least in the immediate future, you're set at corner. You have Slay, whether you like him, not, whatever. He's going to be there. He's going to be starting. Yep. Bradbury's on a great deal and had a great season last year. And then
you love Maddox in the slot.
And then you have a veteran like Greedy Williams comes in, and he's a corner. I don't think you're going to move Greedy Williams around the safety too much.
No.
So that's your depth there. So I think the Flowers will arrange themselves at safety to the point where Keely Ringo can get cross-trained and help you at both spots. And then Sidney Brown's a pure safety. Because I don't know what Justin Evans is. I don't know what Terrell Edmonds is.
I don't even think Justin Evans is going to make the team. I don't see a spot for him.
None of those contracts that they gave to those guys demand a roster spot. These aren't big-time free agents.
Right.
And then the cherry on top, I mean, you get the guard from Alabama, cool. No problem with that at all. Never really heard of him before, but if Howie thinks he's good, I'm on board. And then you have another red shirt.
Who are you talking about?
Tyler Steen, yeah.
Tyler Steen looked like a very good player.
Big Haas.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he starts over Jernigan's. I don't know. So we'll see. There's Ryan Swoop. He's saying that the steal of the draft was Ringo.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Then the cherry on top is you miss on Bijan. You have this Penny, Gainwell, Boston Scott kind of number 2 running back mix. And you go out and you get DeAndre Swift, who I was out on, but then I saw the trade and how little we gave up to him. Why?
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement.
The Lions tipped their hand by taking Gibbs at 12 with Swift in a country year, so they value. So you basically get a 7th-round swap for DeAndre Swift.
Right.
You get the 4th-round pick back if he doesn't resign. And that came out today. I don't even know how that's
we
legal
have him for
fair.
2
You just get DeAndre
2 years, right?
No, you got to pay him after this year.
Well, you have a 5th-year option.
5th year of his rookie deal.
Oh, this is the 5th year. I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
This is the 5th year, unless I'm wrong.
Okay.
But I think I'm right.
Okay.
So you're either going to pay him, which I highly doubt they will, or you're going to get your 4th-round pick back, and you get DeAndre Swift, a year of production, a show-me deal, which Howie Roseman's been incredibly successful with in his Eagles tenure. And he does your Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blount role.
You know why he's been successful with it? Because they do show here for Philadelphia, and then they get paid somewhere else. And it's worked out great for us because I said it before the draft. I'm going to say it again next year's draft. Any running back will succeed in this offense. It doesn't matter who it is. They will succeed as long as they hold on to the ball. As long as they hold on to the ball, they will have 1,000 yards in this offense.
It's really – you just got to hit the hole and be aggressive and run upfield.
It's pretty simple. There's a lot of holes to hit with this offensive line too. You're gonna have your choice.
Ryan Swoop got a couple comments here. I hope the Eagles acquire a cover linebacker before the season, like they did trading for C.J. Gardner-Johnson before last year. They're weak in coverage at linebacker. I mean, it's a hard cap. I mean, you have Dean, but then it's kind of.
Well, you got Dean. You got Reddick, who's not horrible, and then you have Nolan Smith, who is probably not horrible either. Like, I'm okay with our cover linebackers.
And like, you're not going to have, like, we were just talking about our fantasy baseball league and before, like, it's 25 teams in the baseball league, or 25 roster slots with 12 teams. Like, you're not going to have a Pro Bowl stud at every position. It's the same thing in a hard cap league.
No. And here's the other thing that you don't have to worry about also is, to your point on our depth at corner, right? If we get into a third and long situation, guess what? Those linebackers aren't going to be in anyway. We're going dime defense probably. We're going to have extra corners in to cover these people, especially a Ringo who is big enough to guard a tight end, right? Who's big enough to guard a bigger wide receiver. Like, we have those versatile guys now.
Yeah, and I don't know what Desai, our new defensive coordinator, I don't know what he's all about in terms of like style of play and whatnot, but our team sets up perfect for a 5-2 front.
Yes, it does.
You put Jordan Davis in the middle with not all the time, like you can pick your spots, but like if you have to cover someone, you bring that safety down in coverage. You have Jordan Davis eat blocks over the center, and then you have Cox and Carter, and then whatever, Sweat and Brandon Graham on the edge, mixed in as well.
I know a lot of people know the X's and O's of football and everything, but having a big offensive or defensive front makes it so much harder for the offensive line to do, like, for the offensive guards and tackles to pull, to get around corners, because we're going to push them so far back, right? So they're not going to be able to pull to get around the corner. It's going to make our corners so much better. Of course, everyone knows if you get pressure on the quarterback, it helps the secondary. It's just, this is the way Howie has always built this team, and he's done it better than ever this year. Like, this front eight that we have is better than we've ever seen.
Swoop, he likes Jahmyr Gibbs to be the offensive rookie of the year. He's going to play an insane amount of snaps. I don't think that's a bad take. He's 9-1 right now.
Right.
Look, they didn't like DeAndre Swift. Did you watch Hard Knocks at all when they were following the Lions?
I did a little bit, yeah.
Deuce Staley was up DeAndre's ass every day for not hitting holes hard enough and not running aggressively. So, like, there was a disconnect there with DeAndre Swift and that organization.
Right.
So they saw a guy, Dan Campbell was in New Orleans, and they saw a guy that had the skill set of Alvin Kamara, and obviously the Saints were very successful with Alvin Kamara in Dan Campbell's time in New Orleans. So that's what they're going for, and they paid Montgomery. So they weren't going to pay Swift. So, like, that's why, like, I look at these draft grades sometimes, and it's like, who cares? Like, so what? The Lions took Jahmyr Gibbs 12th instead of 20th, so they had an F draft. Like, I don't believe that at all. Like, I actually really like what the Lions did on draft night. Like, they got a playmaker.
Yeah.
They got – everyone's ripping the linebacker, but he's like 6'2", 230. Like,
he's not bad, right?
He's your prototypical, like, middle linebacker.
Yep.
And Dan Campbell wants to be physical. So, like, their draft came at you in numbers. They draft Brian Branch in the second round.
You know how high I am on him. Yeah.
There's Eagles fans in this chat listening to this show that if the Eagles selected Brian Branch at pick 10, they would have been over the moon happy.
I was one of them
in the second round.
I was thrilled with Branch at 10 if that's what was a pick.
True safety. So they built the back end of their defense with Gardner Johnson, our former standout, and Brian Branch. They take that Iowa tight end over Mayer and Darnell Washington, and I don't know about that, but
Iowa's always produced great tight ends.
Iowa produces good football players. If Iowa ever found the quarterback, if they ever lured a 4 or 5-star quarterback to Des Moines or wherever the heck they play, they would win a national championship because they get guys drafted every year in the trenches on defense at tight end. They just lack the playmakers. So I don't really have a Campbell. If you think you need a linebacker and you think Campbell's the best linebacker in the whole draft, I have no problem with that pick at 18.
Right.
Now, 3 years from now, if Jack Campbell is awful and doesn't live up to the hype, then you can crush it.
That's any player, though. That's any player in this draft. Any draft.
Like, I don't know. I think Jalen Carter is going to be a stud. But, like, I've seen prospects way more highly regarded than Jalen Carter not work out.
Yeah, and just to, tap onto that, most people say on the field he is going to be a stud. It's not the on the field, concerns that we have. It's all the off the field stuff. Can he, stay clean? Can he stay in the books and stay in the room? That's what it's going to be with him, probably.
Yeah, and then I really like what the Lions did with Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Goff, you don't know. Like, is he going to be there long term? Is he worth that big money extension? I think Goff is a decent quarterback. I don't think he can win you 3 road playoff games and get you the Super Bowl, even though he's been to the Super Bowl before.
Right.
So you get a great little risk reward there. I think
Correct.
Hendon Hooker might have been a top 10 pick if he didn't tear his ACL.
Hooker is that guy who is really going to benefit having that year behind a veteran like Goff. It really could benefit the Lions making that pick instead of getting a guy that has to play right away.
So, like, I don't really understand. Like, I get it. They didn't follow the Daniel Jeremiah or A2D radio mock draft to a T. Doesn't mean they had a bad draft. I think the Lions had a great draft. I think the Lions are going to be a really good football team next year. Another thing you have to be careful with the guys like Pete Carroll and Dan Campbell is they're rah-rah coaches,
They are.
So that rah-rah mentality, that can get old quick with veterans. So if you're bringing in, 7, 10, 5 quality young guys that are going to buy into the rah-rah stuff, at least for the first couple of years,
right?
That's imperative.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. I mean, you need like the guys like a Geno Smith who gets that second chance with a rah-rah coach who really gets behind them and pushes them. That's good for a Geno Smith, but that might not work for like an Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean. With Aaron.
Or any veteran quarterback.
Yeah. Like Russ, maybe it didn't work.
Correct.
Clearly the problem was with Russ, not Pete Carroll.
Right.
Because he went to Denver and he stunk up the joint. And then Seattle, to piggyback on that point, Seattle, they bring in a loaded draft class too. They had a bunch of extra picks from the Matthew Stafford trade.
Yeah, they had a great draft.
And they did their due diligence on Geno Smith, and Geno Smith was pretty good last year. And Geno Smith is going to have a lot of weapons this year.
It's crazy I'm even saying this, I guess, but are they the second best team in the NFC?
I think they are. I really do. I think that Geno's got to play well, but if I had to bet right now, I would bet the Seattle Seahawks to win the West because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with the San Francisco quarterback situation.
Wow. There's all kinds of stuff coming out about Trey Lance, how they don't respect him. They don't like him. Like, there's just so much coming out about that.
Do you think they should have figured that out before they traded all those picks for him?
Will they give up 3 first-rounders or something
Craziness.
to move up?
I mean, they got their he won them a championship, so he got them over the hump. So I guess you can't hate on the trade that much. So when you look at the Sixers, they make trades all the time, make draft picks all the time. It doesn't happen. We're here in the same situation right now where we're going to get trounced by Boston in the second round again. And then, I think the Rams are going to be better too.
That's going to depend on Stafford.
I mean,
I don't know.
They should have. If he's healthy, he can still make throws.
And if he's healthy, he still can sling it. Yeah,
and Cooper Kupp will be healthy. True. The one draft pick they did have, they picked an All-American guard from TCU, Avila, which they need. Yeah. So, if Stafford's out there slinging it in the a weak NFC, I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here in January and the Rams are playing in a playoff game.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised either. I wouldn't be surprised if any team in the NFC, I would not be surprised. That's how weak it is. It's the weakest conference maybe of all time. There's just no team where, besides the Eagles, that you can say is completely out of it. There really isn't.
And then, tickle me intrigued by Jordan Love. I don't think I've ever been rooting for an athlete outside of Philadelphia more than Jordan Love.
Right.
I would love it if Jordan Love went out there and just slung the rock around and got the Packers to the playoffs, and they did damage in the playoffs. I think that they have enough talent to do so. I think the Packers are first or second in the North. The Packers had the worst odds of anyone in that division to win. At least they did before the draft.
They probably still do.
Like, are the Bears ready in the NFC to do anything? It's going to depend on Fields. I like Fields a lot, but I think there's more bones. There's more meat and potatoes in Green Bay. They just have a better team. I think they're going to make the playoffs too.
That you can almost make the argument, besides the East, every other conference, a 500 team could win that division. Like, that's how I think just jumbled the whole entire NFC is.
Like the Saints bringing Carr. I actually like what the Saints did on draft night as well. They got Bressie from Clemson and Foskey from Notre Dame.
Yeah, too.
With what they had to work with, I think they did a pretty good job. And you bring in Carr. You got to think they're the favorites in the NFC South.
But they still got a worse roster than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay just doesn't really have a quarterback. But they got a lot better roster.
Maybe. Tampa wasn't very good last year.
Well, Tom Brady wasn't very good last year.
So is Baker going to give him at least what Tom Brady gave him?
Baker took Carolina and shot a little spark into them last year.
It's true. There's you can make a team for every team in the freaking conference to make the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. Arizona, if Kyler Murray gets his head on straight, they could be in the championship, in the NFC Championship game.
I misspoke. The Cardinals are going to stink.
If Kyler Murray turns it around, they could be a great team.
Well, he's also going to be out until October.
Is that 100%?
I mean, he tore it in November.
I didn't think he was out that long.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be. I mean, we saw what happened with Carson Wentz when he rushed people back from injuries.
True.
You see it all the time when people get rushed back from injuries. So you got to think he's at least going to be on the PUP list next year.
Right.
And then Gannon's such a crumb. He really is such a crumb. Because, he goes and he gets snarled. He's coaching the worst team in the league. He allowed the Cardinals to tamper with him. So he clearly wasn't that focused on our Super Bowl where he couldn't stop a nosebleed when push came to shove. He wants to take shots at the media as opposed to Shane Steichen, who just went up there and said, it was great. I had really good play home a lot to get me this opportunity. Instead, Gannon just had excuse after excuse after excuse on why. Well, I don't understand. We're the number one defense. Yeah, but, I mean, you take everything with a grain of salt, especially with statistics. We all watch the game here in Philadelphia. Arizona, you're not going to have eyes on you, so you might be able to get away with this stuff. But anyway, he's a total crumb, and we got.
I'll take him being a total crumb and getting that pick back. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we go from the last pick in the third round to the first pick in the third round. It's a total slam dunk. I don't understand why the Arizona Cardinals, how you can watch the Super Bowl and just be like, yep, that's the guy we need. He's going to turn everything around.
Or even better, you're saying, yeah, I'm gonna even tamper and cost my team a draft pick because I have to have that guy. Was he really a must-have? You're willing to give up draft picks for him? I don't think he's that good of a coach.
He's not. He's not. And I mean, I don't like when coaches go one and done in the NFL. I don't think that's fair, especially when you take over a bad team. But he might be one and done, and he might 1,000% deserve it.
There's a lot of guys on that team who might be done at the end of this year if it goes the way everyone's saying.
And they're just so bad because, J.J. Watt was one of their best players last year. He retired. Buda Baker was one of their best players. He wants a trade. DeAndre Hopkins was also one of their best players, and he wants a trade too.
Yeah, and it stinks because Kyler Murray is a very, very, very talented player. He has all the credentials to be great, except for, the headspace. He just doesn't work hard enough, I guess. Whatever his issue is over there, that they have to put it in a contract for him to do it, it just tells you everything you need to know.
Anything else stand out to you about the draft around the league?
No, I mean, I'm a little shocked that Will Levis fell as far as he did. That there's not that. I thought there'd be a lot more teams really looking for a quarterback that someone would have took a little bit more of a chance on them. So that was probably the only shocking. And then, yeah, Detroit maybe had a good draft, but that was the big shock of the draft.
It certainly shook Detroit shook things up at the draft.
Right.
Does that mean they did bad? I don't think so.
No, right.
Apparently, Will Levis was like a cocky SOB in all his pre-draft workouts.
Well, when you tell the media, you tell everyone you're going number 1 overall. Yeah, that says everything you need to know there, too.
He shifted the whole gambling market on the whole first overall pick. And there was questions that his toe was a bother, which I don't buy at all. What's the worst that can happen to your toe?
Yeah, it was his big toe, right? They said his big toe's bad. That's why he fell. That's a cop.
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I
that's a cop.
Believe that at all. If your shoulder, maybe.
Right.
But I don't know. Where ended up in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a good spot for him. It's he's going to have a chance to really succeed and sit back for a year and really learn the offense.
They stink too, the Titans.
There's going to be a lot of bad teams in the AFC, I think. I think that the AFC is just so top-heavy.
I was trying to, do what we did because we kind of hashed it out. We like the Packers to maybe get in that didn't get in last year.
Right.
I think Minnesota falls off. You can pick teams out in the NFC. AFC, I tried to do it. I need to gather more information.
Now, there's going to be a lot of really good quarterbacks that don't make the playoffs this year. But if they were the NFC – they'd be a number 2 seed.
Right.
It's really that crazy.
Completely agree. I always fall for the Chargers every offseason because I love Herbert so much, but Herbert might be sitting next January.
Yeah, he probably will be. That's a tough division. Let's get rid of the whole conference thing. Just the West itself, it's a tough division. If Russ can be anything like he was previous years, they're a real solid team, too.
We'll see. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Russ loses his job to Syntham at some point.
Stop it. It's not that bad of a scenario. I mean, you're
Russ
paying the guy. You're paying that guy way too much. But
now you got maniac Sean Payton there that's not going to put up with losing.
Yeah, Sean Payton will figure that out. I have all the. If anyone can, Sean Payton will figure out Russ.
Or he'll mold Syntham into something that can go out there.
Maybe.
The Jags are got to be minus 2,000 to win the South.
Correct. Yeah. That's the only division, I think, in the AFC that's as locked as lock can get.
And then you have the North. You got Lamar back. You got Joe Burrow there. I like what the Steelers did in the draft, but they're bringing a knife to a gunfight when it comes to Pickett. Now, I like Pickett, but he's not Herbert or Lamar or anything like that.
He's not even Deshaun.
Then you have the Browns there. That's a wild card as well. You can make talking points for all 4 of them teams to win the North.
Yep.
And then we missed one, AFC North. And then the East. I think that Rodgers, obviously the big trade with Rodgers going there. The Jets are the 3rd favorite in the AFC.
I was just about to say that. They're the darling of the NFL right now. Everyone's jumping on them. But they arguably could be the 3rd best team just in that division.
And they haven't beat New England in 20 years, no matter what the rosters have been. Swoop, moving our draft coverage along. Speaking of the AFC East, Christian Gonzalez is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. New England got a future star at corner. Maybe not. I'm never going to risk my job as a GM on a softie from the Pac-12. I'll take my Keely Ringo and my Jalen Carter from Georgia and be on my way. But he could be good. The Patriots fascinate me. They took a guy from like community college in the third round.
And they took a couple, like a kicker too, right?
Traded up for a kicker.
Right.
Drafted a punter in like the 5th round.
Right.
They just don't. I don't know if it's stubbornness, not changing with the times with Bill Belichick, but like, who are you game planning for on that offense?
Yeah, they have no one that you're afraid of.
They
have no speed on that team whatsoever. Like Mac Jones might be the fastest guy on that team, on that offense.
And I don't even think he's the best quarterback on New England's roster. I think Bailey Zappi's better than him. They had some zing and pep, if you will, when Bailey Zappi was in, and Mac Jones was horrible. Yeah. But yeah, I've never seen a team just ignore skill positions like the Patriots did. Like he thinks it's still 2001. That's an interesting bet to be the worst team in the league. New England.
I can see that.
Dark horse.
Yeah, I 100% can see that. Like how it's funny how much like we put Bill Belichick as the best coach to ever do it in football, right? Well, the more and more the years go by, the more and more it looks like, hey, a lot of that was Tom Brady, right?
Covers up a lot. And they had a good defense. Like they had Ty Law and Revis they had the one year.
McGillis, yeah, they had a lot.
Yeah. McCourty and Vrabel and just a whole bunch of guys that fit what Bill wanted to do. And now he's just kind of grasping at straws trying to recapture that when that's not the way you win in the NFL. I'm a firm believer that you need a top 10 offense to win a championship in today's NFL.
I'll tell you one thing. If you're going to go out and draft a kicker and a punter, you better win special teams this year. You better put up some numbers in special teams.
And then you just have Grumpy Bill up there. Like, yeah, special teams, it's one of the 3 phases of the game. We got to get special teams. Like, okay. At the expense of a receiver for your quarterback that was tragically bad last season, total regression across the board. And then, like, you have Tua in Miami. Who knows?
If he stays healthy, they could be the best team in the East.
They brought in Jalen Ramsey, which I think was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then they have a Mike White's a good backup option if Tua can't go. I'll bet you dollars to donuts that Mike White beats the Jets as the backup quarterback in Miami in a big spot this year.
Hey, when do they when's the schedule get released?
I read today May 11th.
Okay.
But I also no longer have NFL Network anymore.
Ooh.
It's May 1st. So NFL Network and NFL Red Zone and the NFL Sunday Ticket is exclusively with YouTube TV now.
Correct, yeah.
So keep an eye on that, all you NFL nuts.
Yeah, I think YouTube has made that available to anyone, though, correct? Anyone can purchase that?
Yeah, it's like a separate package.
Right.
A lot of people were bitching about the price, but, I mean, I looked at the price for what you get between the Sunday Ticket and the Red Zone.
Yeah.
I think it's expensive. Don't get me wrong. Everything's expensive today,
I think they jacked it up $100 from what it was last year.
And if you sign up before a certain date, you get
right.
an additional savings. So May 11th, there's the one rumor I heard about the schedule is that there's going to be a Black Friday game.
Really?
On Amazon Prime, which they announced that last year. That part of it's not a surprise, but leader in the clubhouse to fill that slot is an Eagles-Giants matchup.
Really?
Which would be interesting.
That would be interesting, yeah. Friday game. NFL's doing it, man. They know how to market a game in a league. They really know how to make their money.
Yeah, there's no shortage of cash flow.
No.
NFL. They know what they're doing. And that's a good spot for a game, too. Honestly.
It is. Yeah.
Like, I don't like Thursday night football. I'd rather see a doubleheader on Monday night. But you can throw in a Black Friday holiday special.
Yeah.
And then the Eagles are featured in it. Eagles will be featured a lot on primetime.
Eagles are going to probably be on primetime, I would say a significant amount, just because the way the NFC is. They're the only team that's going to garnish any value to be on.
Well, the opponents are out. You just don't know, like, the channels and, like, the order and the times the games start and everything.
Right.
Like, they're playing the Jets on the Jets are on the schedule.
Right. And there's your first Monday night game, right? Week 1, Jets Eagles.
That'll be at MetLife. Like, the Chiefs are on the Chiefs are on the schedule. The Dolphins are on the schedule. I think Seattle's on the schedule. I think the whole West is on the schedule, so the Niners are going to be on the schedule.
Correct.
Just be a lot of primetime games. But I'm a big fan of the Sunday 4 o'clock window myself.
I'm a 1 o'clock guy through and through. I like the Sunday ones.
Especially when you're going to the game.
The 4 o'clock is better if you're going. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Ringo was a steal of draft. Bob Brinkman, Swift's going to help us. He's really talented, and he's a Philly guy.
He is very talented. I'm still – and I said this to you at the draft. I'm a Rashad Penny guy. I think Rashad Penny has all the skill in the world to be a great running back in this league.
1,000% agree with you. The problem is he pays rent on IR.
Yeah.
And I don't really care that he's a Philly guy.
No, that doesn't move the needle for me at all.
On these guys,
yeah,
any which way. If you're good,
you need to play no matter where you're from. I don't care where you're from.
Yeah, if you're from Mars and you can play, we can sign you up. If you're from Philly, you can't play. Come on, we're gonna crush you, and we're gonna let you know about it. So I mean, him being from Philly doesn't really tip the scales for me at all. Paulie Scoops. Sixers about to tip off here in just a few minutes.
Correct.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take them. I'm not going to take them -10. I can't do it. I can't even convince myself. The degenerate in me can't even bring myself to bet on a huge number in the playoffs.
It's a bad bet. I mean, I see us losing by 15 or more. From tip off to the end of the game, I see this just being a lopsided game.
Ryan Swoop, Seattle, and Eagles, who are both NFC, had the best drafts. Can't really argue with that. I think the Seahawks are a little bit better than the Lions, though. If we're predicting this on May 1st, I think my title game would be Seattle and Philadelphia.
Really? I mean, I'm not – listen, they're probably the two favorites. So it's not like it's that outlandish of a pick.
San Francisco. I'm sure San Francisco's up there, but they're a bunch of whining crybabies. So
I have one team that I'm really excited to see. I like Carolina. I like the way Carolina's built down there. I want to see if they can really do something.
Who's that?
Carolina.
Oh, Carolina. I mean. Yeah. Because they got but they have good players on defense. Carolina making the playoffs wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, they got a great defense. They got a good running game. I'm okay with their running game.
You got Miles and Chuba down there now.
Right.
Hold on. I was going to try and bring up the odds here real quick.
See what the game jumped to?
Well, that too.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Sixers.
No, I'm over that. Went up to 10.5 plus 430.
Okay. I thought it would move up a little more.
I mean, 10.5 in a second round playoff game. That's a staggering favorite.
That's right, especially an opening round game, right? Game 1, where you would think both teams are going to come out trying to win game 1 and set the tone. You think it would be a close game. Not tonight, boys.
What do you think the line would be if it was in Philly? 5, 7?
8.
8? Yeah. Try and bring up these NFC odds here. NFL. Conference winner. So the Niners and the Eagles are co-favorites at plus 350.
Shut up. How are the Eagles not overwhelmingly favorite?
I mean, yeah, we kicked their ass last year up and down the field, knocked all their quarterbacks out, and they're still co-favorites.
It's absolutely crazy to me that people are really – Petty is not the guy. He's not going to be the guy.
Dallas, who always gets overvalued, especially this time of year. They're the third favorites at plus 6.5. Not buying that for 1 second.
Well, they still got a good roster, right? But they still got Dak at the helm. So
Then the Lions are fourth at plus 850.
okay,
And then you have New Orleans and Seattle at 5 and 6. Seattle 16-1 to win the conference.
it's probably not a bad bet.
I get they're young, but sometimes that can help you when you're young.
What's Carolina?
To win the conference,
Yeah,
30-1.
I know where my money's going.
Arizona, the worst
Right.
odds at plus 10,000. So 100-1.
Wow.
And then the AFC, you have Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. So the Jets, I misspoke earlier. The Jets are the fourth favorite at 9-1.
That's still a huge jump from probably what they were before the trade.
Probably. So if you play games and bet them before,
Right.
The Rodgers thing became official, you might have got a little bit better number. Maybe then I can sort of maybe get behind it.
Right.
But I don't think the Jets are better than Miami or Buffalo.
I don't think they're better than Buffalo. I think they are better than Miami just because I don't trust Tua to stay healthy. But
then you have the Chargers. Who knows? Ravens are 15-1. Like
they could be the worst team in that division, though.
I don't think they're going to be.
You like you said, you could make an argument that they could be the best, but I can make an argument that they could be the worst.
Then you have Cleveland at 17-1 and Pittsburgh at 20-1. That's an interesting number on the Steelers.
I told you, you laughed at me, but I like Cleveland. I think Deshaun Watson is what Deshaun Watson was. Like, he's a top 5 quarterback in this league when he's going.
And then they have Chubb,
who's a top 5 running back.
They picked that receiver out of Tennessee too. That was 6'3", Tillman.
I love him. Yeah.
So Sixers about to tip off. Bryce Harper.
Yes.
Bryce Harper Day will be May 2nd. Tomorrow he will be in the lineup as the designated hitter. And John, this team's about to go on an absolute tear.
Yes.
I think they're 15-15 after last night, maybe 15-14.
15-14.
So they're a game over 500. They won another series last night. Yep. Over the weekend. They lost last night, won the series. Wheeler and Nola pitch great.
Yeah.
Not only do you have Harper coming back, you have Suarez coming back as well, which puts Strahm back in the bullpen, which what he was signed up to do.
Correct. I don't know if I might keep him as a starter, actually.
And what, put Falter in the...
Send Falter back down. Bye-bye.
No, because you got to have one of them in the bullpen.
Why? You got so many lefties in the bullpen as is now? Why?
You can never have enough bullpen guys.
Yeah. All right, then put Falter in there, Matt. Strahm he's arguably our best starter right now.
It's an embarrassment of riches here in Philadelphia on the baseball sense. Like, Bryson Stott is slowly developing into one of the best leadoff hitters.
Yeah.
You're not missing a beat on offense with Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Harper out of the gate through 30 games.
It's funny because the first 5, it was like Panic City around here, remember? We were 0-4, and everyone was throwing up the arms.
Nola stinks. Yeah. Nola stinks. Not an ace. 2 bad starts in a row. That's not what aces do.
The offense couldn't hit to save our lives. It was bad. And you're right. Now, Bryson Stott's hitting the cover off the ball. Alex Bohm has really showed me something. He's coming into his own right now. Him playing first base, he's looked really good at first base, too. So I don't want any of that talk of Bryce Harper playing first base. Knock that stuff off.
So you just want him at DH?
Yes. Why would you ever risk injuring him?
Because he's going to play a better outfield than Castellanos.
Castellanos has been really good outfield too, but you're right.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. The guy has no range out there. He's hitting the cover off the ball. It's fantastic, but he's far from a Gold Glover out there.
Oh, he's not. I'm not saying he's Gold Glover. Bryce is way better, But if you're going to risk injury, I that's not what I'm doing. No, Castellanos is good enough to me to where I'm not risking Bryce Harper injury.
And then how about Brandon Marsh? Brandon Marsh about to start for the National League in the All-Star game.
That's my if I was wrong anywhere, it was there. I did not like Brandon Marsh. I thought that he would be gone by now. But yeah, he is really one hell of a player so far.
And he's great on defense. He's great on offense. He can run. Like
he's hitting for power too. He's our 5 hitter. Who would have predicted that in the beginning of the year?
And if you told me at the beginning of the year, it's fine Reese tore his ACL because Stott, Marsh, and Bohm were going to be above 300 hitters and just keep this line moving. I would have said you were crazy.
Yeah.
And then I would have said, yeah, you're right. This team isn't going to miss Reese Hoskins. They're not, at least from a production standpoint, not yet.
And JT hasn't even got hot, and that's coming once he gets hot.
Yeah, and Schwarber's coming too.
Right.
What's your order?
Turner hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
Hey, it's baseball. That's the number one thing in baseball. It's the biggest roller coaster. You're going to have a lot of downs throughout the year.
Yeah, people forget, if you fail 7 out of 10 times in baseball as a hitter, you go to Cooperstown.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I heard all the noise at the beginning. Oh, Wheeler, Nola, he's not an ace. He doesn't deserve any money. 2 bad starts in a row. Get him out. And then I think that it's been a masterful job by Rob Thompson to figure out this bullpen and do it so quick.
Right.
A lot of new faces out there. And, you don't have a true closer. So
give me 1 minute. I got to plug my computer in. Sorry.
You got, and everyone's kind of Alvarado is settling in as the closer. Dominguez is a setup man, which he's better at. He's more comfortable there. Kimbrel's and Soto are sort of rounding into form.
Kimbrel's been good lately.
Yeah, and you have Brogdon, who I like. And then someone's going to the bullpen to bolster that because Suarez is your number 3 starter.
And it's funny because we've been saying it. And I think playoff time, it will happen. You have probably one of the most dominant pitchers that we've seen as a prospect in a long time, just waiting in the wings.
Painter.
Yeah, just waiting in the wings to come up. I mean, this kid was the most dominant pitcher in baseball last year. I know he hasn't pitched yet this year. He's still working his way back from that injury. But once he gets going, by the end of the year, come playoff time, yeah, he's my number 3 starter. I want to see that guy up.
I haven't heard anything about his elbow.
He's back throwing. He's doing long tosses now. So he's back throwing. He hasn't thrown any bullpen sessions as of a couple days ago. So I don't think anything's changed there.
That's fine. Don't let him go out there in his first bullpen session throw 104 miles an hour, which they let him do in spring, and he got hurt. They're a bunch of dopes for doing that.
Right.
But I guess no news is good news on that front.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, let him take his time and heal. Let him throw long toss for a couple weeks until he gets the arm a little bit, strengthened, and then let him go and see what he does.
Jake Friel, Will Levis stinks. Don 19, our Detroit native. He's in the house. Wonder what he thinks about the Lions draft. Swoop DeAnthony Melton. I don't have a TV in front of me.
Yeah, I'm not watching the game either. It'll distract me too much.
The NHL playoffs. Goodbye, Boston. That's crazy.
Goodbye.
I thought Boston was going to bite the dust because I was a big Toronto guy. I thought
I bet on Toronto to win it all this year. They're my pick. Yeah.
But, I mean, to lose to the Panthers after that whole season, I mean, ugh.
Record-breaking year, right? 120-plus points or something?
They were 72-10.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Crazy.
Oh, was it that? I'm sorry. Yeah, 140.
Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They lost 10 games the whole year. It was crazy. Don 19 Eagles should be a favorite by a mile in the NFC.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I don't understand how you can have a team that doesn't have a quarterback as close to the Eagles as they are.
Ryan, so Ravens are better than you think. I mean, I think the Ravens are pretty good.
Right, they might be. I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm just saying they could be a last place team.
I fall into the Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert trap every August with my predictions, and I always look like an idiot. But I mean, Lamar's talented enough to win playoff games. He has won playoff games. He didn't beat Buffalo, and when he gets out of Baltimore.
I know they traded Brown last year, but they got him a lot of help this year. Like he's going to have some weapons now to work with.
They got Odell.
Yeah. They got Odell. They got Bateman. You got Andrews still. You have 2 great running backs. J.K. Dobbins should be healthy and ready to roll this year. Like they got a lot of weapons there.
Nelson Aguilar comes over. I mean, say what you want about him, but I mean, he was a big part of our Super Bowl run in 2017. Yes, he was. Really a good vertical slot for Carson Wentz that year.
Yeah.
They got some things going on in Baltimore. Patrick Queen.
Yeah, the
perhaps
defense
on the
is
move.
solid. No. Not this year. Maybe next year.
They declined his 5th-year option.
Okay.
They paid Roquan Smith a lot of money.
Right.
And they drafted linebacker out of Clemson, Trenton Simpson, in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So is that the ace up Howie's sleeve? I have no idea. Nobody knows what Howie's going to do.
No, I first of all, I don't want him.
Why?
If that's what it comes down, I just don't want. I want Nakobe Dean like that. He's my guy in the middle. That's who I want to play.
You run a 5-2, and Queen and Dean are your linebackers. Like, hello.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny it, but
at that point,
I want Dean to run the middle. That's all.
So, I don't know. Maybe that's the ace up Howie's sleeve. Everyone's talking about Budda Baker, Devin White down in Tampa. Maybe he gets his hands on Patrick Queen somehow. I don't know.
I don't think you'll see a Budda Baker move until they really rule out, like you said, maybe Ringo moving to safety. If that's a real option, I don't know if you need Budda Baker.
But why not?
I get you with the why not. There's also, and how he spoke to it after the draft. Why he is drafting a lot of Georgia players and Alabama players. Yes, because they're great, but also it's instant chemistry, right? You're coming in, you already know these guys. You already have a feel. They can help you navigate the city, where to live, where to eat, where to go, where you can stay, things like that. That adds a lot to a team, especially in football.
I completely agree. And then all those guys, they played against each other, the Bama and Georgia guys. They probably went to every all-star high school camp down there in the Southeast, and they played against each other. And, like, it's just a fraternity that you have to keep going, keep picking SEC guys.
Well, why wouldn't you make it easier for a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old kid to come into the NFL, where it's going to be the first time they really have money, the first time they're really going to have responsibilities and be on their own probably, make it a little bit easier for them and have friends and have people that they trust in their corner. It just all around it makes sense.
Sixers up 19-13 halfway through the first quarter.
There we go.
Proving us wrong.
Yeah, they are.
Harden's looking good.
Is he?
I mean, I just have the box score. I don't have eyes on the basketball game yet, but
right.
At least they didn't roll over off the start.
No, that's 100%. I thought it would be a kind of a rollover start. So I'm happy that they're getting out and looking like they'll get 25 points in the first quarter, which is big.
We can only hope. It's all we can do. Now they're just like that. Right after I announced it, the Celtics made 2 threes, and now they're down 1.
No more watching for you. Just end it.
I'm not watching. I have
no more
ESPN box score. Celtics 9 of 10 from the floor.
Are you that type of guy though? Like if you're not watching the game and they're doing good, you turn it on. They start doing bad. Do you immediately turn it off, or is that you? No.
Jinxes and mushes, they're not real.
Okay.
Like,
I'll tell you one thing.
Nothing I do at my house.
James Harden, playoff James is a mush. That's real.
But he affects the game. What beer I'm drinking to watch the game, what seat I'm sitting in to watch the game, where I get my sandwich from to enjoy the game has absolutely no bearing on the outcome of professional sports.
Can I get like some comments in here, fam? I just want to see who believes in that stuff, really. Because I'm kind of a believer in it. Like, I don't take it to that. Yeah, I don't take it to a big extent, but I am a little bit of a believer in that.
But dude, no, I got to be in my seat for this game because the Eagles are 10-0 when I sit in this seat and wear this jersey. Dude, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen is going to happen. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Sometimes I go to the bar with my friends to watch the games and stuff, right? So if they're doing good, we stay in the same seats. We're not allowed to leave, not allowed to go to the bathroom, not allowed to do anything. But if they're doing bad, it's like, all right, everyone's got to, do the firehouse drill and change and move and all over the place.
Fake news, John Coyle.
I'm kind of with you.
Nothing you do, nothing you say, nothing you predict, nothing you gamble on, nothing you eat, drink, where you sit has anything to do with what's going to happen in professional or college sports.
Nothing. Yeah, I believe you're right. I just like to think that it does.
Sometimes there's desperate measures and you got to change things up.
Right.
Hopefully we don't get there with this Sixers Celtics game.
Yeah, we're already there probably.
All right. We're going to log off. It's been a great edition of the Sports Hounds. We're going to enjoy the Sixers game. Check out for Thomas Arnone and the boys throughout the night. We're doing some live reactions for the second half, I believe, and then they'll be rocking and rolling on the post game all night. Thank you for great sponsors, All Campus down there on Ocean City. Check out Johnny, Philly Sports Trips, Baguio's Breads, Gleason's Bar and Grill, 6700 Mill Creek Road, Creative Window Design, and I think I covered them.
The Doc.
Be sure to hit that like. Oh, yeah, the Doc. Of course, the Doc. He's our Doc. You got to make him yours, too. Specialized physical therapy. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. Brad will be back next Monday. Who knows?
Happy Brad or sad Brad?
I'd like to think he'd be over. I think his Rangers are going to be okay, though. So I think we'll have happy Brad. I think the Giants did decent enough in the draft that he can maybe latch on to that. Brad's a Knicks fan too, so he
should be happy there. Yep,
he's got some eggs on the fryer, if you will, in terms of his sports. But anyway, he's John Coyle. I'm Rob Brinkman. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.
Take care, guys.